Hey, gals, guys, and otherwise, this is Jonathan O. Roselion.
And I'm Noah, also known as Polyphonic, and you're listening to Horns and Wings, the podcast where we read through Saga, the best comic of all time, one issue at a time.
That's accurate. We're talking about issue, 18 this week?
18! Jesus. End of volume 3.
Yeah, and of course, last week we had a big uptick in listeners from, we had a special guest YouTube superstar, Patrick H. Willems on. And so, I want to give people more of what they clearly love. So all to our podcasts. From now on, baby, you're fucking stuck with it now.
You're the one that's got to edit them, so I'm down.
Okay, never mind. 40-minute podcast. Let's start it.
So what's the cover of this? Wait, did you say you had some updates and some news for me once we're rolling?
I have a great big update for you, Noah.
Okay. I'm going to be really disappointed.
So, no, you're going to be sincerely happy about this because it's fantastic. So I went and checked our ratings on iTunes again because I was like, oh, we got some new listeners. I want to see if anyone else put in some review or some feedback. And that 4-star review is up to a 5, baby.
Oh,
we did it.
Yeah.
We fucking did it.
Thank you for giving us constructive criticism and then rewarding us for making the changes.
Yeah.
That's actually what I want everyone to do. Give us 4-star reviews and tell us how to change.
Shut up right now. No, shut the fuck up. No, fuck off. Never doing it again. We will never improve ever again unless it is a 5-star review. If you have constructive criticism,
we reached our peak last episode, so with the last 2 episodes were our peak because 2 episodes ago we had the best episode ever, and last week we had the longest episode ever. So it's all downhill from here.
We'll make this the most something. This is the just like
most average,
the worst episode. No, we're going for a worst episode on this one.
Okay,
so far nailing it. So yeah, no, I'm pumped about that. We're back up to just a sexy 4.9. It's intimidating to be a 5. Like it feels kind of gross to be a 5, and I don't want to be in the 1%. So
I'm a 5, but it's on a scale of 10. So
I'm happy with it. Nora, what are we looking at with this cover?
It is moody, it is dark, and it is Lion Cat with blood dripping from her mouth.
Considering where we left off last week with Lion Cat hovering over Clara, fuck this. Fuck this, I hate it.
But also, it's beautiful. Lion Cat is beautiful.
Gorgeous. I love it. It's so novel. I think that's something that I kind of take for granted with the covers is the fact that we get these painted versions of the characters.
Yeah,
which gives a whole it's such a cool rendering, and it almost feels like seeing them like live action for the first time or something. Like we're just a bit closer, and it's very satisfying.
This cover is also just really jarring to me because it feels very different than a lot of the covers because it's so dark. Like it really feels like some heavy shit's about to happen when you're looking at this cover.
Yeah, and there's like usually a lot of the covers tell a bit more of a story. Or it's like some kind of action taking place. But this one is just Lion Cat. The story it's telling is the blood on its mouth. But then it's just a solid black background. And so, we're still keeping it fresh and awesome with these.
And then we turn the page, and what do we see?
We see, and I'll take this first one. We see a big old splash of Lion Cat, mouth open, drooling, hovering over Clara, and it's a voice off panel saying, "If she gives you any trouble, kill her." I'm not feeling good about this, Noah.
Nope, not looking great.
Oh, and also the world's on fire.
Yeah.
Just everything's on fire. So we see that it is, of course, Gwendolyn saying that. from off panel, and she says, I'll find her son, and starts going upstairs past the fire, using the cloak to protect her. And Clara is just sort of resigned to her fate, says, go on, rip my fucking throat out, and looks at Dioswald Heist's corpse and says, I've had enough, which is super sad. And then she yells, I've had enough, and sticks her thumb in Lion Cat's eye, which Lion Cat isn't super pumped about. And it seems like Lion Cat is about to rip her throat out when an easy kitty in pink text comes from off panel, and is Isabel phasing through the wall, saying that Lion Cat has no right to be here. This is what is interesting to me, and that is Isabel explains to Clara, this is a lion cat, and lion cats always play by the rules. At least they're supposed to. And she points out that Lion Cat and her friend have executed a civilian in his own home, and Lion Cat does not say lying. And so Isabel says, get the fuck out of here, and turns into a giant lion cat, a giant red lion cat, that has a bunch of lion cats the size of Lion Cat, suckling at her teats, if you will, and she yells, "Useless runt of the litter," and scares Lion Cat off, which is one of my favorite apparitions we've seen so far. And then Clara passes out, making shit worse for Isabel, and Isabel says, "Nothing is ever easy," and then we see behind her, in the smoke, a glowing blue screen as Prince Robot gets up.
Oh, fuck.
It is a fucking rad scene, and I am tense the whole time.
It is on.
And we get a lot of great. I feel like there's always those possibly permanent damage things. We've gotten a lot of permanent damage things of like the cracked screen on Prince Robot's face, and Lion Cat just getting her eye gouged.
Yeah.
Something awful happening there.
So what's different about the start of this issue, John? There's something that's different. Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me, man.
We're not starting, for the first time this whole arc, we're not starting with Upshur and Doff.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Have they been properly scared off?
I don't know.
By the brand?
We were thrown right into the action, and I think that's awesome because I think it's really jarring when you've read an issue that's usually framed with this kind of expository stuff, and then your opening splash is the world on fire and two characters you love trying to kill each other.
Yeah, I like how it keeps that momentum going from the end of the last issue, very mercifully so, because this is, I really do think that there is a lot of thought being put into this comic as something that is read just beginning to end.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still torn on whether or not the perfect way to read this is like as it's happening and growing with the characters and experiencing that over the course of years, or just like waiting until all 108 issues are out and just like binging all of it, because it is clearly made to be read like so quickly.
The proper way is to binge all of it, but listen to episodes of Horns and Wings in between.
Yeah. Binge us. So go ahead and just tune out for the next 90 episodes, and then come back in.
What I really love about this scene is and we got this a little bit with the conflict in space last arc, but right on now, these are all characters we care about, all in conflict with each other, and like I love Clara and I love Lion Cat, and I don't want either of them to die.
Yeah, like I love when anything does that. I compared it before to Game of Thrones when it was like we got Jaime versus Daenerys, and for the first time I was like, oh shit, I don't want any of this to happen. But yeah, this is some high stakes shit, because these are probably two of the most murderous characters that we've seen, and so just aggressively loyal
Yeah.
characters and protective characters. So to see them up against each other is definitely terrifying.
Another key thing here that I think is really important is when Clara says, "I've had enough," Lion Cat doesn't say lying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful. And I think it also shows a lot about Clara that like she is completely ready to die, but will still fight back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no. She's I've gained such an appreciation for her character on this read through. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
I think the smaller doses does help with her a bit, like appreciating her a bit more, because she's I think just in how much she reminds me of I don't know, more authoritative like family members and stuff.
Yeah.
She can be a bit exhausting, but in the weekly basis we've been going, I think that I've grown to love her way more.
Yeah.
So two things about Isabel pointing out that lying cats follow the rules. One, there's apparently a sort of society tied to lying cats. Which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Or some kind of instinct built into them. But also I just the fact that Isabel is dropping this knowledge of lying cats, this is where I'm finally starting to wonder, like, how old is she actually? Like,
Yeah. She seems to know a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, because we know she died a teenager, and I think what has been the most deceptive for me is the fact that she's wearing like the most contemporary clothes of anyone in this book.
Yeah.
But also we don't have a basis, like, other than the fact that we saw Special Agent Gale wearing a similar t-shirt. We don't, like, that still could be, 200 years old. Like,
Yeah.
we're not sure. So I like that. I don't know. I think it's a cool mystery. That's another one of those things that's like, it could never be answered, and I'm fine with it. But I like the fact that, like, she could either be 200 years old or just a very wise teenager, which are both totally valid.
And the way she's able to, I love when we get to see Isabel in action, the way she turns into the giant lion cat and the useless runt of the litter. Like, like this feels like someone who has a knowledge of the world to do this.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, I love the sort of anamorphs, like, between, like turning into transitional panels here of her having, like, cat eyes and a scary mouth and some ears, the panel before she's a massive lion cat.
And then we've talked a little about Fiona Staples doing horror, and horror.
Yep.
Like, oh my God, this last panel is so fucking brilliant. With everything has been in these hues of reds and oranges as it's on fire, and you get this like crystalline blue with Prince Robot emerging from the smoke, and it is such a like visceral terror.
That Pokemon Crystal Blue, baby, that Game Boy Advance Polar Ice, whatever it was called. No, it's so cool. And I also like that this is what, the third issue in a row that we've gotten pretty much that reveal.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, I think we skipped an issue with issue 15. We got the Sophie behind the wheel, which was the end of the thing, and then issue 17 we got Sweet Boy in the darkness, and it works every time. It's so rad.
It's so good.
But yeah, I think this is my favorite one, just because of the. It didn't creep up on me quite as much, just because, like, you kind of spot that. It's easier to spot, like, it's at the end of the second page, so it's a little more likely that you spot it on the page turn.
Yeah.
But just in terms of visuals, and like you said, the colors, it is so effective and so cool and so creepy.
It's so good. All right. Are we anything else on this scene, or should we move on?
Nope, that's all my notes.
All right. So then we cut to the top of the lighthouse, where we're standing on like a balcony. Alana's there. Marco runs up and says, "Hurry, someone's coming upstairs." But Alana says there's nowhere left to go. Marco suggests maybe that Alana can glide them down, but she says her wings are vestigial, so they're kind of fucked. And then Gwendolyn comes out saying, "You really did fuck one of these animals."
Racist.
Yeah. But before anything else, the first thing Gwendolyn asks is for a spell that can heal the will. And she says, "You found someone new and I have too." But then Marco kind of gives her a spell, but then Gwendolyn reveals that he's not a Moonie. Is Moonie a racist term? Am I allowed to say Moonie?
I think it's a term of endearment.
I don't think so.
Well, I think it's like, what do you call... I feel like there's some term in like New Jersey or something. Like there are those like, I don't know.
Anyways,
I feel like I could think of 10 of them, but none of them.
You don't want to say them.
There's so many where I'm just like, I just realized like 5 in a row where it's like, oh, this is, oh, nope. No, that's actually terrible, and I never analyzed it. But let's say Mooney anyway.
Anyways, the spell can only work on horned folk. That's worse somehow. But then Alana says that there's a medical center the next system over, and if they drop him off there, they're obliged to treat. But then Gwendolyn points the lance at Alana, and we are getting an Alana POV here, and says, "Bitch, who told you to open your fat face?" Yeesh. And that's where we end this little scene.
Wait, now hold on. Did I miss it between all of my trying to figure out what is or isn't racist? Did you point out specifically how she refers to the will in this scene?
I did not. A foreigner?
The big revelation? Oh no. The end of the page before it.
Oh, that she loves him?
She says, "The man I love has been hurt."
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know if I specifically said that, but yeah.
I don't fucking listen to you, but yeah, no, that's a. I love her expression here, where she's like so sort of vulnerable and just like sincerely panicked.
Yeah, like desperate.
Yeah, to the point that she's like she's just so just open about it when it's something that clearly she would never ever say otherwise.
Yeah, it's very raw. I think all of the facial expressions in this are really, really interesting. Mm-hmm. The anger and confusion on Alana's face when she hears the name Gwendolyn. There's like this calm sincerity, but also confusion on Marco's when Gwendolyn asks the question, and then at the end, this kind of like distorted rage of Gwendolyn.
Yeah, no, it's a really effective, highly emotional scene, and it feels like the end of this arc. Like this feels like, I mean, what a climactic, the top of the lighthouse.
Yeah,
for the first time.
This is just 2 phenomenal set pieces. A showdown on the top of the lighthouse while inside the lighthouse is burning down. Yeah, like it's just really, really compelling set pieces.
No, this is I love the climaxes in more ways than one of Saga. Saga has a lot of good climaxes. I mean, I just the fact that she loves him, that's my big takeaway from this scene.
Yeah. All right. Should we go back down and see what's happening in the burning living room?
Let's. So we go back down the stairs to our burning living room, and we get a shot of Prince Robot saying, "I am Prince Robot, the fourth, I don't know." And we get some implied sort of time paused since we were last in this scene. What's that? Parallel action. Because Isabel turns around scared. With the reveal of Prince Robot, and Prince Robot slowly says, "Coalition forces of landfall. How may I assist your unit or division? So he's in early boot up mode here. Isabel realizes he's Fritz, and she says, she tells him to. I love this. We have a wounded friendly that I need you to help remove from this active theater of fire. And then he picks her up, says he's pleased to assist you, and picks Clara up and takes her out of the lighthouse. And his memory sort of starts coming back to him in a shot of a woman licking her own nipple.
Yep.
Shows up on his screen, and he says, "Hold, what is your name and rank?" And Isabel's like, "Actually, you go do whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah,
we'll take it from here," and is very grossed out by whatever's happening on his screen. And that's our little scene with him. And I love what a satisfying and brilliant resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, anything for me, like the best resolution is something that makes perfect sense and I never saw it coming.
Yeah.
Especially how they left off that last scene of him looking terrifying, and then it's just like, oh, I'm just in boot up servant mode.
It's such a good fake out.
Yeah, and I love what that says about just their species also, where it's just like in their that's the thing that makes me think that they are advanced AI that was, originally intended to serve, but as his like operating system boots up more and more, he gets his sort of sentience back a bit.
Yeah, it's such a like, it really, for the first time you really feel like he's a robot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I found this part so satisfying.
I love the expression on Isabel's face when his screen shows the woman licking her own nipple. She just like recoils,
like she's seen a flasher or something. Yeah.
All right, should we move on from there?
Yeah, we're burning.
That's a nice quick little scene.
Yeah.
All right, so then we cut back to the climax at the top of the lighthouse. And Alana and Gwendolyn are facing off. Gwendolyn calls her a homewrecker. Alana says, "Marco never even had a home with you, you delusional stalker." And Alana just asks for them to move on with their lives. Gwendolyn says, "I am," and we get a POV shot of the lance extending. And then Marco shoves Alana off of the lighthouse.
Who's holding Hazel.
Yeah, right. That's important to note. She has Hazel. We cut back below to Isabel, and we can see Alana falling off of the lighthouse, and Isabel says Hazel. Presumably she can feel it. She has a connection. Mm-hmm. And Gwendolyn retracts her lance in surprise and says, "You killed them." And Marco says, "They deserve better than you could give," and pulls out a knife. Which actually looks like half of scissors.
It's the half scissors from last issue.
Yes, that he was going to mercy kill with. Mm-hmm. So maybe he has mercy killed now. Mm-hmm. And then he just kind of drops them and bows his head and says, "You should do it." And we get a close up of Gwendolyn crying, saying, "You broke my fucking heart." And then we hear the click of the lance as her lance is at Marco's chest. And then we turn the page and we get a splash shot. It is Gwendolyn from behind and coming up from behind her, flying, carrying Hazel with her heartbreaker in her hand is Alana, who says, "You'll live," and then shoots her in the back of the noggin.
Yeah.
And then Alana hovers down and lands and says, "How did you know?" And he said, "What, that my wife can do anything? Isn't it obvious?"
Oh.
And then we get some Hazel transitional narration.
There it is.
As we pull out on them embracing, it's raining in the lighthouse, and it says, "Thanks to my parents, we were able to escape quietus that night, but not with the remains of their late hero, D. Oswald Heist." Hoof.
Oh my
Holy
gosh.
fuck.
So much to unpack here.
Can I just say, that is a serious gamble by Marco. Like I believe my fiance can do anything. I would not push her off of a lighthouse.
I mean, it's the perfect alibi. I don't know. Perfect excuse. I mean, which if you look at it, like it was literally his physical reaction to a lance coming at them. So like I get the like literally no other options here.
Yeah. Well, and it's been established that he is willing to mercy kill them.
Yeah, which is great. And so first of all, I just want to point out on that first page of this scene, the top panel of Alana is fucking amazing. Her with her hair blowing in the wind and that expression is so good.
She looks so badass.
And then the perfect sort of parallel to that is the shot of Gwendolyn, which again we get very consistent like wind blowing. We've seen it before with rain, but I like that even when we change camera angles, the wind is always blowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
Which is a great attention to detail. But those two shots are so fucking iconic and so cool. And then also something I didn't notice until you pointed out, we get the cool little detail of we get the click when she extends the lance, but the second time we hear the click, it is of the cocking the heartbreaker from behind her.
Exactly.
And we think that it's Gwendolyn pulling the trigger.
This is such a good example of what we've talked about before, where like when you're doing a comic, basically every page turn needs to have a cliffhanger. And this is such a cliffhanger. Gwendolyn pointing the lance, saying you broke my fucking heart, and then we get the click. That's perfect use of sound. It's perfect use of the page turn. Like you are, all bets are off at this point.
And the fact that so this is one where I don't think it was intentionally set up, but Brian K. Vaughan seized the opportunity so perfectly. The fact that he had her organically, like, it is one of the best lines for this situation is her saying, "You broke my fucking heart," and then we get Alana using the heartbreaker on her is so goddamn good. It's so goddamn good.
It's so clever. For those of you that, in case you forgot, I mentioned the Heartbreaker. The Heartbreaker is Alana's stun gun, if you're listening to this and you're confused, because I didn't actually make that clear.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably, next to the lance, the most sort of iconic and recurring weapon we've seen so far. Save for maybe Prince Robot's blaster. But also we get a nice little surprise of Marco coming with, like, he literally just pushed his wife and baby off of a lighthouse, and still when he pulls out the scissors and he has that great, I actually like how she kind of does the slight like bags under his eyes when he's pulling out the scissors to kind of like call you back to when he went berserk before. But then we get him dropping the scissors and him saying, I'm sorry, truly, whatever you need to do to make this right, you should do it. And it's just like, I love that he still hung on to his principles there. But I do think that, I guess he did know that Alana was flying, because we do see him looking over the edge in that first panel of that page.
Yeah, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Like when Hazel, it doesn't look like she's flying when Hazel, when Isabel says Hazel and is looking up, it looks like there is falling happening there.
Yeah, which, by the way, one thing I really loved about this, that moment where Isabel spots them, in these first two scenes with Isabel, I was starting to feel like, which is something I want to talk about a little bit, but I was starting to feel like she was overpowered, like, as a character, where it's like, oh, she can turn into anything.
Yeah.
And she has all this, not like, she's smart enough to know how lying cats work, and she's smart enough
she can kitty pride her way through walls.
Yeah. And she's smart enough to, like, convince Prince Robot to carry Clara out of there. And I was just like, she's kind of seems like too much of an ace in the hole. But then with this panel, I realized, like, oh, she can do literally nothing in this situation.
Yeah.
Like there is she like it's just like a nice little reminder of like, oh, she can't actually have an effect on the world.
Yeah.
And what it reminded me of,
she's not corporeal.
yeah, and what it reminded me of was how much of this is just like this book is always just like such a great Dungeons and Dragons group that they've assembled here with strengths and weaknesses and personality types, where it's just like,
oh my god, we need to get some people together and homebrew and record a Saga, like a D&D in the Saga universe.
Fun fact, I think in the Discord, I believe it was Cully the Destroyer on there, said that she found a perfect game to do sort of Saga role-playing game if anyone was interested. So we should take her up on that, and that would make a fantastic live episode or between the arcs or something.
Yeah, that would be so good.
Yeah.
We could bring Ben and Patrick in too.
Yeah. I'm thinking that might be better saved for like when we have more episodes to fill once we're more caught up.
Yeah.
But
that's a good call.
And also because I just want to use all of this knowledge that we have at our disposal as possible to flesh out the world. But yeah, that is definitely on my list of shit to do in the future. But yeah, no, I love that's the big thing for me, is that like there's such a nice balance to both the personalities and the abilities of just about every group in this book. Like I love the whole Gwendolyn, Sophie, Lion Cat, the Will dynamic, and I love the Marco, Alana, Isabel, Clara dynamic, and it all works so well. But she's this reminded me so much. I always end up playing characters who like can talk their way out of anything and use like illusions and stuff, like the warlocks and stuff. But then like when it gets to battle, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm worthless. and I love that they have that balance in this book.
And so on that, any more thoughts on this scene?
One more thought, and that is that I love the truncating of the necessary plot points here is pretty damn elegant, with the dramatic punctuation of the lightning behind him and then it raining, and that as an explanation of how they can get out of the lighthouse when there's a fire.
That's true.
Now it's raining, so now we don't need a scene of how the hell did they get down from there.
Well, I mean, they can also, it's been established that Alana can fly also.
Yeah,
so.
But then that brings into question stuff with like how much weight she can haul.
Yeah.
But I guess she could like bring a rope up or something.
I think that the rain is also really nice as kind of like we've got this climax, and then the lightning and rain is an announcement that we're about to see the denouement. Mm-hmm. Like this kind of happens in movies all of the time. At the end of the big showdown, the rain kind of washes over, and we kind of wrap up the arc, and that's, spoiler, what's going to happen in the next few pages.
Yeah.
Which I think that's not much of a spoiler. I think it's pretty clear. And even Hazel's narration there, where she says, like, we were able to escape Quietus that night, and but not without the remains of Heist. It's kind of it's telling you that the Quietus arc is over and washing it away with kind of the white noise of rainfall.
Yeah, and everyone out there, whenever, because I still get hung up on this, of like the idea of so many of the things I take away from Saga are like these just sort of traumatizing or deeply depressing moments, or like deaths and stuff like that. Remember this moment where Alana flies back up and shoots Gwendolyn with the heartbreaker, because there are definitely very high highs in this book along with the lows, and this is up there for me.
It's also satisfying because the heartbreaker is a stun gun. It doesn't kill Gwendolyn because you also love Gwendolyn.
And in a way, it's that you broke my fucking heart line is just a good reminder, without having to specifically say it, that is the heartbreaker, and that is a stun gun.
Exactly.
And then we get the same Vinax as the sound effect for it. So there's been a lot of bricklaying to get to this point to make it run as smoothly as it does, and it goes off without a fucking hitch. I love it.
All right. Should we move on to this denouement? Yeah.
With 3 more scenes.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're not wrapping this. You're not bringing it home. Well, you will be bringing it home, but not yet.
So we see the outside of an establishing shot of a cloudy blue planet. And the voiceover continues. Mom and Dad wanted to stick around for
that's not just voiceover.
Fucking
Name it properly.
HTN continues.
Yes.
Mom and Dad wanted to stay around for a proper burial, but my devastated granny argued that Heist would have appreciated where he ended up, mixed amongst the ashes of his creations. Which again, we're getting
That's
some
beautiful,
gorgeous poetry. And we get we are close on the nighttime smoke sitting on the desk of Upshur and Doff. Upshur's trying to figure out a way to get around the embargo, the poison that they've been that the brand stuck them with that will kill them if they talk about the story that they are onto with anyone other than each other. Upshur is saying that that embargo can be reversed if the casters of the spell are hanged until dead. And Upshur is just like, stop it. Or Doff is like, stop it. And their editor comes in, says that there's a story with Prince Robot the Fourth, and apparently he's having a kid soon, but he's been missing for weeks if they want to cover it. And Upshur is eager to cover it, but Doff shuts it down and says they're swamped. The editor says a homophobic thing, reestablishing how the world they're in. And Doff is just like, this is not worth dying for. We're done with this story. And it seems like an actual resolution to their whole thing.
Yeah, it definitely, it's really interesting because these characters have been kind of a tool for us to explore the world through this arc, and it feels like it's not like a writing off like they're killed or something, but it feels like they could return or they could just be done with this. Like that could be, they could have served their purpose, right? It's really, I think it leaves them at an interesting place.
Yeah, and I like that it's sort of, it also tells you a bit of how the lengths that the people in this world will go to shut this story down, because I feel like that's also sort of tying up a bit of a potential plot hole of like, oh, why don't they just go to the press with the story?
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is what happens when the press gets this story. So it's like, it's a nice little fill in the hole a bit. And just a nice little, I love that we get the beginning and the end of this or at least a resolution to this subplot within this arc. It feels like a nice little bow on it, and it's very satisfying. But I have to say the most important thing about this scene is that in the last one we pull out a bit to see the outside of their building, and the building is underwater.
Yep.
We are on what is it? Is it Flotsam or is it Jetsam?
Flotsam, I think.
One of the eels from Little Mermaid. and but it is, we're in like a BioShock city, which is very cool. But it seems like there is no water on the inside, especially since they have paper sitting on their desk.
Yep.
And gravity works. So I like that that's a nice little bit of world building that I've been curious about, which is that and we also see a very faint silhouette of 1 or 2 or 3, it's kind of hard to make out, people swimming in the background.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that.
It's very hard to spot. Huh. But yeah, so I like that it's sort of like a Gungan city, if you will, from Star Wars Episode 1, where it's you swim from bubble to bubble, but on the inside there's air.
Do you think that they've got a grand army?
Yeah. That's probably maybe go through the planet core. Yeah. It's so hard for me not to do a Boss Nass impersonation right now, but I'm not going to do that to everyone. So make that a Patreon reward.
Yeah, you sure?
Remember literally right before this when I was like, hey, I gotta go do a live stream after we record 2 episodes. So make sure I don't do like a Daniel Plainview again or something. And then you're like, hey, you wanna do the guy who literally just like fucking violently vibrates his throat? I'm good, Noah. I'm good.
All right. So now I'm so happy that I get to do this scene.
God damn it. I didn't count it out.
Well, you get to do a pretty great scene at the end too. There's a lot of great scenes in this.
I do.
So we get an establishing shot of Sweet Boy tied to a sign that says 6654th Mobile Army Surgical Hospital of Landfall. And we see the Brand talking to a winged doctor, saying that a freelancer was dropped on your doorstep. And the doctor says, right, the Will, you his partner? And the Brand says, I'm his sister? Ooh. And then the doctor says he suffered a trauma he'll probably never recover from, and asks if she knows who did it, and the Brand doesn't know. And then the doctor walks over, pulls a curtain back, and we see a very pale... the Will kind of with tubes coming through him, hooked up to life support stuff, but he says, "Sir, he's alive. Thank fucking Jesus." And the doctor says he can make vocalizations, but I wouldn't call it communication. And then the Brand kind of comes in, says, "Hey kid, it's me." Reaches out and the Will mutters, "Sophie?" And the Brand says, "Very good, Billy. This is Sophie. I'm here now, okay?" So that's a reveal. Mm-hmm. We learn where the name Sophie came from. And then we see the Brand, or Sophie, kind of just like holding the Will close, putting her head on his chest. And we see that through binoculars. And then cut to the person holding the binoculars, and it's Gwendolyn, sans cape, I will note, who says, "I don't know what else we can do for him." And then Sophie, slave girl Sophie, not the Brand Sophie, says, "Lying," and she's standing next to Lion Cat, who has one of her eyes poked out. And then we get a wide shot of them on the top of a building. The onion ship is there, and it says it will be a very long time before we saw any of our original pursuers again. Mm-hmm. Once again, this arc is resolved in one way or another. I mean, we know the Will is back alive. Yep. We know Gwendolyn and Sophie and Lion Cat are a crew together. We know the Brand is still something. Oh, I love the Brand. This scene just gets me to my core. Yeah, it just.
Oh man, so much. Again, in 2 pages, it's so effective in its exposition. I love the the explanation for why the Sophie hasn't talked to the Will in years is I introduced him to his last girlfriend. Didn't go great. In reference to the stalk.
Yeah. I also just like the "Hey kid, it's me" seems to imply that Sophie or the Brand is the Will's older sister.
And one thing that I love is the fact that she says, "Very good, Billy," as in his name is actually Will.
Yeah.
Because she refers to herself as Sophie there. So common sense would dictate that she is using actual first names here.
Yeah.
And so the
William
name is actually Will, which of course it is. Wait, hold on. So would I be the John?
The John?
God damn it. I don't want it.
I don't know. Would you be the Great John?
I'd be the Little John.
You'd be the Little John? Yeah. The Small John or the Little John?
The Lil Jon. No T's.
Oh, the Lil Jon.
The Lil Jon. Yeah. Again, it's so hard for me not to do a Lil Jon voice, but that would destroy me.
What? That wasn't
for
good.
Taking that bullet, Noah. And
yeah. There we go. That was better.
That was better. Thank you for bringing this podcast up to the quality the people deserve.
Just be glad I'm not doing my Lion Cat voice.
I'm you know what, I'm gonna be not glad either way. I think I'm just generally dissatisfied now.
I've realized by these a clever freelancer name for me, though it wouldn't actually even work in the Saga universe because this reference would not mean anything. But my freelancer name would be The Ark. Do you get it?
No. Oh, Noah.
My name's
I
Noah.
I got it.
Yeah. And worth noting, as you kind of mentioned earlier, Lion Cat's eye is like kind of swollen shut. She's been fucked up.
Yeah. Which I don't know if it's permanent or not because it looks swollen. I don't want Lion Cat to be hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that we get some sincere emotions out of Sophie. That's the new Sophie, but also the old Sophie. That is the most ambiguous shit. The brand. I'm gonna say there's Sophie and the brand is how we refer to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get some good emotions there and some resolution, and then that HTN to transition us into the next scene. I fucking love when the narration just drops spoilers. Like just drops major spoilers, and then it's not really spoilers because it's the book happening in real time, but just her saying it would be a very long time before we saw any of our original pursuers again, and then we transition to the rocket ship tree entering the atmosphere of, it looks like a very Earth-like planet, and the HTN says, at least it seemed kind of long, but nothing warps time quite like childhood, and this is all happening while the rocket ship tree is landing and laying its roots. I remember visits to faraway worlds that lasted only a few days but felt like entire lifetimes, and then there were the endless journeys between destinations that somehow went by in the blink of an eye. You know how it goes. And the door to the rocket ship tree opens, and a little foot and a little leg stick out, and someone says, "Watch your steps, silly." And then we get our final splash page here.
Oh my god.
Of Alana saying, "That a girl," and standing over now a toddler, a standing, walking toddler, Hazel.
Oh,
and it is.
And she's just so fucking cute.
Cutest goddamn thing in the goddamn universe. She's wearing, so she's just wearing like, it's almost like just a blue version of that sort of cape jacket that Alana was wearing before. It's like this little dress cape thing, and then just a cute little hat with some puffy balls hanging down. It's so cute.
No,
I love it. But yeah, a time jump.
It's such a great shot too, because almost in the way that sometimes the covers do, where like it's clear that they're stepping out of the rocket ship tree, but it's also kind of just like abstract, like this kind of abstract circle framing them and this golden light behind.
No, yeah, it's definitely a more exaggerated lighting than we've seen before in this, like, because we've seen them coming out of the ship before. So it's definitely for effect, which I love whenever Fiona Staples does that.
Can we also just talk about the way we got this before, but we get it again here, and it's so cool, the way that the like kind of like Celtic knots of the door retract when it opens, and you can just like visualize that,
they're like tendrils.
Yeah, like in like Chamber of Secrets or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. And then I also love Alana's new jacket, which actually reminds me a lot of, I just saw at the beginning of Blade Runner, they have that it takes place Los Angeles, November 2019.
Yep.
So we're officially in Blade Runner. But this is, I just saw a tweet the other day that was like, okay, we should all be wearing this now. And it's a shot of Harrison Ford in it. And he wears a very similar crazy lapelled brown jacket.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know the exact jacket, actually,
And so I'm going to say that it's confirmed this saga takes place November 2019, and they just landed on Earth. We figured it out already.
I also just love the like, watch your step, silly. Like, it's just such a, like, powerful thing seeing what you assume is Hazel, like, walking out of the rocket ship tree. it's so cool. And Alana's hair is longer, and it's just such a good time jump.
Time jump. I'm pumped. Which actually sort of brings us, because at this point, it would have been 3 times 6 is 18 plus the 6 months for between arcs. So this is 2 years. This is officially 2 years after the comic started. So we're already through 2 years of this book. And so it's kind of bringing us back up to speed of how the real time has passed.
And I think it's really interesting because like one of the things that Brian K. Vaughan drew from in this book is his own experience raising a child.
Yeah.
The problem that Brian K. Vaughan was having and the life experiences he was having, the life experiences you're having with a 2-year-old are very different.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that there's kind of this
Terrible twos.
this time jump to pull from, right?
Yeah. I'm pumped. This has me so jazzed for the rest of it.
Yeah, I was actually telling John beforehand, I read this and this was the end of my omnibus and it just had me, I actually just like sat down and read the next arc or two right after this time jump. Something about this, even more than some of the cliffhangers or something like that, it just like, it feels like you're about to see something new, I mean, you're always seeing something new in Saga, but something else entirely, and you are. But I'll leave it at that.
Don't deprive me of that 5-star review.
I will say the splash page of the next issue is something else entirely.
Dude, I don't even know what it is, because this is, for me, this is my last volume trade paperback that I have. I am now officially in floppies, in individual issues. So I'm not gonna, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to spoil myself for future issues. So I'm going to be very much in the moment.
You can you'll know what I mean when you pick it up. It's a beautiful splash.
Awesome. But yeah, I you know what, this arc, we said before, this arc is the one that sticks out. Like, it sticks with me the least in my mind, I think, just because there's so much setup and there's a lot of sort of, we get a lot of
hanging around on quietness.
We get a lot of nice, quiet, very much like needed quiet moments and character moments, and it's a lot of building. I feel like so much of a lot of the other arcs are just like boom, 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 set piece after set piece, plot point after plot point, and this one feels, in a way, a lot more cohesive than a lot of the other arcs, because we have that slow build to that climax, and save for the stuff going on with the will largely on that other planet, which is kind of our, like, where we get a lot of the action and the big moments from the middle of the arc. I think that this is such good story structure and just good storytelling, where it's just like, it is such a good payoff. I would have been happy if the lighthouse had exploded after issue 17, after all the shit that went down. Like, that would have been still, in a way, a satisfying conclusion, because it popped off so much. But the fact that they fit in this great climax at the top of the lighthouse and everything, and Prince Robot rebooting and all that stuff, was so satisfying, without having to be hyper depressing too. Like, it was fantastic.
This was a really good arc. Yeah. Once again, this comic never ceases to amaze.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's again, like you said, with all of the depressing moments and all of the bar dying and Heist dying and everyone dying, this arc leaves on such a just like warm, close, happy shot, right? Like, it doesn't feel, it's not even like it's a like triumphant victory or something. It just ends on this really delightful, happy moment that you can't help but smile when you read it.
Hey, you know what I just noticed, Noah?
What?
Death of the Stalk, issue 5. Death of Bar is issue 5 of that arc. And then Death of Heist is issue 5 of this arc.
Oh.
We get all the major deaths so far on the next to last issue.
That makes sense. That's actually kind of in the early seasons, that was the trademark of Game of Thrones too, was the big event happens on episode 9, and then episode 10 deals with the repercussions of it.
And knowing Saga, that is not gonna be the case for much longer.
Yep.
I'm sure they're gonna mix it up consistently. They're gonna pull Joffrey wedding.
All right.
But yeah, what's your favorite moment?
Oh God, there's so many. But I think my favorite moment has to be it turns out to be a fake out, but the blue screen Prince Robot behind Hazel. Not Hazel, Isabel. Jesus.
The Z's, man.
Yeah. Yeah, like the nothing is ever easy, she says, as like this creepy, it's like a punchline moment, but also like a dramatic irony moment, but then also this intense, dark, scary thing.
Yeah.
And then it's also hilarious because we couldn't talk about this during it, but looking forward, that Prince Robot getting up makes it easy.
Yeah, no, it's just this. How can I serve
like
you?
Hazel wouldn't have been able to save Clara. Clara would have died.
Yeah. But I love that foreboding.
But then the Prince
twist.
Robot makes it easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I love that. It's so great, and visually, it's fucking amazing. And yeah,
What about you?
My favorite moment is the reveal of Alana flying.
Yeah.
It's such a great. Again, that I love a splash page and a climax where it's just like all these things, multiple things coming together at once, and that reveal of it was set up for the Heartbreaker, and she can fly, and she's right behind her, is Marco possibly did it intentionally. It's so many things coming together for such an emotional moment, and it just makes you cheer.
And do you have a song of the week?
Yeah. It's very relevant.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey, Jay-Z, Heartbreaker.
Ooh.
That's my song of the week. You got the best of me, Heartbreaker.
I've got another. This is a very literal song of the week in the style of John, not so much an emotional song of the week, but also it makes everything like a hell of a lot more funny if you picture this playing behind in the dramatic scenes. Burning Down the House by the Talking Heads.
I think we have picked the two best songs for this issue.
Watch out, you might get what you're after.
Good stuff. But of course, the best song of this week is right here.
Hey, I'm lying here.
So consistent in how fucking stupid we are. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I actually do. I had this thought because I don't think that we've asked this before, but we've talked about various characters' voices, but we get a lot of Hazel narration at the end here. What does Hazel's voice sound like to you? Not like baby Hazel, but like the narrator writing. Is it an older Hazel? Is it like kind of a like 20s Hazel? Is it middle-aged Hazel? What's her voice sound like? Like I think it's if you have, as we often do with our voice stuff, an actress or something like that you'd like, or just a general description, because I was wondering that myself as I was reading all of this kind of, it's almost like a montage that she's talking over at the end here.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because that's something I never questioned, but I have such a clear, here's my uninfluenced answer to that, and it is that in my head, she's always been like maybe 25 or something.
Yep, that's exactly where I am too.
Yeah, like especially once we saw the time jump, in my head it's just like, oh, we're gonna see her life up to adulthood or something. Like that was my assumption, and like, obviously the last issue or whatever is going to be her finishing the there and back again.
Yeah.
and putting the quill back into the inkwell. and yeah, I just think that, hold on. This is what I'm going to say. Because we have gotten some very, it doesn't even fucking work. I was gonna say we've gotten some foreboding voiceover stuff in reference to Alana.
Yeah.
That makes me super nervous. And I was gonna say her she's gonna have a quill with Alana's feather the feather of her mother, but then I
yeah.
realized Alana doesn't have fucking feathers.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. But I still like it. I like my idea.
She'll be drinking wine out of one of Marco's horns.
What a fuck you.
It's funny how like the quill of a feather feels like such a like pure emotional thing. But drinking out of the horn is like, that's metal as fuck and really dark.
The inkwell is Alana's skull, obviously. I think we can establish that. That's fucking great. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to go with your question of the week because mine is one of those, like, put it in my back pocket for whenever.
All right.
And, yeah, this is a good one. This is a great way to wrap up an arc.
Yeah, this was fantastic.
And this episode was longer than it felt.
Yeah.
But we done it.
And you know what this means?
Mm-hmm.
Next week we get a signature in between the arcs train wreck.
Yes. If you thought my voice was raspy now, just wait till 5 seconds from now for me. Noah, where can people find you?
Well, actually, if you like raspy voices, you can go to YouTube where my Halloween video is on Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
Good transition.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, basically all of it. Watch Polyphonic. I think that's basically it. Go buy Polyphonic merch at standard.tv/collection/polyphonic, I guess.
When are we getting a t-shirt? When are we getting that I'm Polyphonic t-shirt that I pitched you on the other day?
I want to make more merch, but I feel like people would prefer more videos to more merch. And
I'm a little over encumbered right now with polyphonic videos. Let's take a merch break.
All right. I'll take a year off and just do merch, and we'll see how it does.
You just fucking described the make stuff production schedule. Let's stop doing the main thing we do and do all the other shit for a while. Like this podcast. Go check out Make Stuff on YouTube. Go check out the Patreon. We've been posting a lot of good stuff on there instead of posting actual Make Stuff videos. See, that's the thing. We're the yin and the yang, Noah and I. He does all the actual content. I do all of the surrounding shit, and it makes for just half of a good experience. And of course, and please, you know, we've been getting consistently great answers from a lot of people for questions of the week, but it's becoming the same crowd a bit over and over again. I really want us to branch out. So just no pressure. Just go to either, it's always the pinned tweet on the Twitter, or it's always the pinned comment on the YouTube version of the podcast. But the Twitter is @hornsandwings. We're youtube.com/hornsandwings. Go answer the question of the week. I like this one. This is a good one. I don't remember what it is. So go check that out. And a big old thank you to Fiona Staples, Brian K. Vaughan, Phonographics, and Image Comics for making this thing and for totally nailing this ending of this arc. I love it. And as always,
am I shitting?
There we go.
Am I shitting?
Are you actually asking? Are you actually asking me?
I think I'm shitting.
Should we stop recording? No. Okay, we better stop. Bye.